Will, what's the riskiest thing you've ever done?
The riskiest thing I've ever done is I spent years not taking action on anything.
Ah!
No!
Riskiest action is inaction. Inaction in action. There's few things we need to know about action if we're going to take it in a smart way. First thing we need to understand about risk is that when we take a bunch of little risks, it makes us stronger. For instance, forests burn regularly because they come back stronger than they were before. The Middle East is tough as hell because they've been battling for thousands of years. When you work out, you're just destroying your muscles a little bit so that they can grow back tougher than they were before. When you make a list and hurt your brain thinking of ideas, you're breaking it down so it can come back stronger. You're exhausting it so it can come back stronger. It's the same thing with failure. You fail a little bit, you become tough. You become resilient. And that's the key. And now the risks are lower than ever. All you have to do is fail fast. Don't fail hard, just keep failing fast. So, if you want to test the business idea, Will just wrote a great post a couple weeks ago called
3 Steps to Validating Your Business Idea for Free.
We'll link to it below. You're gonna like it a lot. Okay. Rule number 2, risk arbitrage. A lot of risks seem much more risky than they actually are because people get excited about them. The news blows them out of proportion, or people are uncomfortable with them. When you can find a risk that intimidates people more than it deserves to, you know you're onto something. To see the real risk of something, ask yourself this question: what's the worst that can happen? Risk arbitrage gives you access to the biggest opportunities in life, because when you ask yourself that question, what's the worst that can happen, you can think more clearly about an idea. And so you can see the big ones that freak out most people and understand them for what they really are. Number 3, risk is different for everyone. If you have a job, it's scarier to lose it if you have a kid than if you don't. So look at your risk versus other people's risk and understand where you are compared to them. It's not that risky to travel the world and lose all your money if you're 20 years old. But it's a huge risk if you're 30 and you have a wife and kid. Rule number 4, uncertainty can look like risk when it's really not. Nassim Taleb talks about this idea in The Black Swan. We have to focus on the impact of something over the probability of it happening, because we're really, really bad at measuring probabilities. Remember that the biggest opportunities are the scariest ones, and so they seem the least probable, but they probably are much more probable than we think they are. Don't get scared away from an opportunity just because you think it's improbable. Think about how it can change your life. Rule number 5, we have a negativity bias. Studies have shown since forever that humans react to negative circumstances much stronger than we do positive ones. We evolved this negativity bias because we used to die when bad things happened. But now, usually a bad thing doesn't mean that we're gonna die. It means we might get rejected.
The girl in my dreams was there, and she was sitting in the dancing room, and she was dating the football all-star of the school. So I went right up to her, and I just said, you know what, fuck it, what's the worst that can happen, right? So I just went up to her, I just put my arm around her, just like that. Didn't even say a word, just put my arm around her, and I don't really know what happened after that, but we ended up dating for like 2 years, and it was terrible.
What's the worst that can happen?